Thank you all for tuning in to the very first episode of our web series, Product of My Environment. I'm your host, Professor Ed, and to my right, we have my big homie and co-host, J-Nyce, who, by the way, also happens to be our very first guest on the show. Now, before J-Nyce and I get into this conversation, I think it's important that we answer the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we putting this show out into the world? I was born and raised in the South Bronx, and for the last 14 years of my life, I've worked closely with justice-involved youth and adults in prisons, jails, and public schools. When I was just 17 years old, I signed on to tutor returning citizens in reading and writing. And more recently, I've worked as a creative writing instructor on Rikers Island. In all of my time doing this work, I've experienced moments of true joy, but I've also faced tremendous difficulties. But of all these struggles, none have earned my curiosity and obsession quite like the one that inspired this web series. And so the question is, what, if any, is the relationship between our culture, urban culture, and civic duty? Or to put it another way for y'all, to what extent does urban culture influence the decisions we choose to make on a day-to-day basis? To answer some of these questions, I got J-Nyce with me here. J-Nyce, how you feel today, baby?
I feel good, great.
You feel good?
Yeah.
So J-Nyce, let's get right into it. Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
I had a pretty good childhood. Actually, not even pretty good. I had a great childhood. I always lived in a house. We always had money. I always had everything I wanted. The only thing I would say I was missing in my life is probably that father figure. I didn't have my father. I actually met my father when I was 32. When I turned 32.
You were 32.
Yeah.
Great. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, two. Older brother and a younger sister.
Older brother, younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
How were you as a student? Speak to me a little bit about that.
I was pretty good. I wasn't great. I wasn't no straight A student. If I sit here and say that, I'd be a liar. But I was pretty good at that. You know what I'm saying? What happened for me was, you already know. Once I started, going left and selling drugs and things of that nature, I stopped going to school because I felt like, what was the point of going to school if you go to school to get money? And I felt in my head, at a young, immature age, I'm already doing that. So I don't need school. I'm getting money. I'm selling drugs and getting money.
So your understanding of school was, this is a place that's going to help you ultimately make money. And at that age, not the idea that like school was going to help you become what was your understanding of school when you were young?
So my understanding of school was history, the typical curriculum that you see nowadays. It hasn't changed.
I guess what I'm asking you is, what were you supposed to get out of it? What did you think?
I'm going to be honest and say I don't even know. Okay. I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't know.
That's fair. I don't think a lot of kids know today what they're supposed to get out of it. All right, so let's shift a little bit here. So how'd you go from being a B student, which is fair, being a great athlete, to like hanging out with some of the people that you ended up getting caught up with in the end? How'd that happen? Talk to me a little bit about that.
For me, what happened was, I was a follower, right? I was being a follower. I was a leader as well, but I was following individuals that, we weren't like-minded and we weren't on the same level, I would say. And when I say the same level, I just explained, I grew up in a house, right? So I didn't grow up in the projects. I didn't grow up where I went home after school and there was no food in the fridge. There was mad food in the crib, in my crib. So when you're hanging around individuals like this, and you live the total opposite, 9 times out of 10, the way you think and behave is gonna shift. It's gonna shift, because what I was doing was, I'm trying to appease them. I was trying to appease them and fit into that crowd or that circle when I didn't even have to. I didn't have to, but that's what I did. So the more, my mom or even, other people in my life would say, stop doing this, stop doing that, I would do it.
You would still do it.
I would do it.
And I like something that you said before, in a different conversation we were having about, like, there's nothing wrong with being a follower. It just depends on who you're following. Say a little bit about that.
So, at that time,
who were you following at that time?
Right. So the pattern, the individuals were, gang banging, right, to the fullest. They was banging. They was committing robberies. They would carry guns. They would smoke weed. And so all of those things, right, were introduced to me through these individuals, and now I became that. right? So if I was following, like, I would say my life now, everybody in my circle now works, is doing their thing, you know what I'm saying, on a legitimate scale. And I say that to say all of the financial education books that I've read, right? That's one of the things that they promote, all of them. Who are you following? Who's your mentor? Like, who's your leader? And it's the same thing in the community where we from, or the gang culture. Who are you following? And then when you analyze a lot of the big homies, the pattern is death, jail, and prison. That seems to be the norm in that.
Now, J-Nyce, you said something very, very interesting earlier. You were talking about trying to appease people. As you know, when I was a graduate student at Harvard, I worked on a social theory, which I termed PTS, performing to survive. And the idea of the theory, like the idea behind the theory, or the argument rather, is that the ghettos in this country are a product of racist American strategy. And in the ghettos of this country, Black and Latinx youth, men and women, have been forced to perform certain identities to survive the very conditions they've been forced to live in. And that sounded a little bit to me like what you were talking about earlier. Is that so?
No, that's a fact.
So you were basically performing an identity so they could fuck with you.
I mean, yeah and no, you know, but more so on the yeah side.
On the yeah
because
side.
It became a thing, whereas a lot of the big homies or leaders in the community, right? When they would do, you know, these long sentences in the feds or the state, and they would come home, these were the teachers. These are the teachers, not the ones in school. In the streets, these are the teachers. So if they were teaching us, we're modeling the behavior that they say. And even the ones that, if they weren't directly talking to you, when you sit on the outside and view it, you're still learning. Because you can learn directly and indirectly. You can observe. So it didn't make sense when a big homie came around the way and be like, yo, what's up, little homie? Nah, go to school. Nigga, you don't go to school. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, that makes sense.
So even though some big homies would say that out their mouth, it's like, yo, homie, you got the Rollie, you got the Rolls Royce, you got all the girls, you got everything. To a little dude looking at this, it's like you have everything, and I want that. So why would you tell me not to do what you doing? I'm gonna do it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what I did. I fell in that loop, like, okay, I'm gonna be accepted.
So that's it. I want to get back to that. We're gonna get back to that, and we're gonna talk a little bit about performance later. But I want to move into your story. So how did it go from like just hanging on the block and chilling with certain niggas to being in front of a judge who's trying to serve you a 20-year sentence?
So I had a car, right? My friends didn't. See how it's incompatible already? Yeah. Like, you don't have a car, I have a car, right? So they wanted to do a robbery, right? It was my cousin and, you know, one of his friends, right? And they wanted to do a robbery, but I had the car. So it was like, I'm like, yo, at this time, I'm like, nah, I sell drugs. I already know what I do. That's not my thing, robbery. They was like, yo, just listen to the plan. I'm like, let me hear it. They're like, we gonna go in there, we gonna do it. All we need you to do is park 2 blocks away. We gonna jump in the V, and then whatever we come out with, you get half. But the thing is, when I did that, a person saw my license plate. My license plate was insured in my name. It was a legitimate car. It wasn't like a stolen car.
You used your actual
another
vehicle.
bozo move. I mean, I was young and I was dumb, and I'm thinking I'm 2 blocks away. That's like you saying y'all gonna rob this place right here, and I'm 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would I think that I would be caught.
Yeah.
Not me. I'm 2 blocks away. So somebody caught my license plate, and the cops was looking for me, and they actually got me, I would say, a month later. And then they sent me to Rikers Island.
They sent you to Rikers Island. And so talk to me about being on Rikers for your first time.
That was very interesting. So we're talking again about PTS, we're talking about who's the leaders and things of that nature, right? I just explained to you all the individuals that we look up to, right, or have some type of clout or say so in the hood. When they come from Rikers Island, upstate, or the feds, they always tell you these stories. But these stories aren't bad stories. It's like glorifying stories to a point where you end up worshiping these dudes, and the more time a dude did or the more work that he put in, the more he's accepted. And the more everybody around the way is jacking him or her. Because ladies go through this too, right? So when they tell you these stories, it's embedded in your brain, right? They don't realize what they're doing to a younger individual because especially when you're young, you soak all that up. And so for me, when I went to Rikers Island, although this was the first time, I was like a vet. I was moving through Rikers Island as if I had been there countless times, and I've never been there. I was prostrating to survive for real. So they tell you things like you yourself, you've never been to prison, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this saying, when you go in there, somebody's gonna walk up to you for your sneakers and they're gonna say, yo homie, what size is that? And what's the response?
Your size.
How do you know that you've never been to prison?
Well, I've taught in prisons and stuff.
But the thing
but
is
I get your point.
Everybody around the way knows the answer.
For the same reason that people say day room and all this jargon that comes out of the prison and jail.
All of this stuff comes yo, you a dub. People don't know where this stuff. This is blood language. Yeah. The whole world is saying, yo, you a dub. That's a dub. Right? I'm not jacking it. Or I'm this and that. All of this is blood codes. It's blood codes. The world don't even know that. But like I said, all of these people came home from these places and had us feeling like you're not even a damn man until you go through that. And you don't get your props until you go through that. And some people will disagree and say, oh, Jason, I don't think that's true. And I'm going to say, this is how I prove it. When you go to jail or prison and you make it out, and you're lucky to make it out, they do what? They throw you a party.
They throw you a party.
Homie, I just got a scholarship to Lehman College. Nobody ain't throw me no fucking party. No, because now, how does a younger person...
I didn't mean to laugh.
No, but how does a younger person view that, right?
That's true.
I got a scholarship, full ride. This is about to be my second degree. I graduated from Bard College, a liberal arts school. I'm about to graduate from Lehman College. Where the party at? But when I came home, I was celebrated, man. I was celebrated, one, because they said, okay, he ain't snitch, he held it down, and two, because I made it out. So now, how does a person view that? How do you feel? Does it not make you feel like, damn, I want my party? I want to be celebrated?
And so that gets back to the thing I was saying about performing to survive, that actually in this place where we live, right, in the hood, and this goes for any hood across the country, to do certain things earns you influence. And everybody wants that influence. Everybody wants that clout. Tragically, the things that we have to do, like you were just saying, is maybe going up north for 15 years, or cutting somebody, or stabbing somebody. So tell me a little bit about the sentencing. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the sentencing was, like I said, I got caught because of my vehicle. Yes. It was insured in my name. And the detective basically was saying, listen, if you don't tell me who did this, right? Because we know it wasn't just you. The people described 3 people. Actually, it's just show you how the system is messed up. Because in my paperwork, it shows one of the main witnesses was 6 foot and dark skinned. That ain't me. Right? Yeah. So you would think that alone would be like, well, we're gonna have to, it's not him. And he doesn't even fit the description. I'm 5'8" and I'm not dark skinned. Right? But they didn't care. They was like, yo, basically, if you don't do this, you're gonna hold it down. Meaning, we're just putting the charges on you. So it's on you, nigga. Like,
yeah,
you know, so I went in there and my first cop out, I think it was 7 years. It was 7 years. I was like, you know, I'm not taking those 7 years. I couldn't see me doing, 7 years. Wow. And then when I went back the second time, the time actually went up. They offered me, I think it was 10 the second time. So now the third time, I went, this is me going back and forth to court. Yeah. I was on Rikers Island for about 2 years. I was on 9 block, the Beacon, 9B. So I'm at my, I would say, 19th month, 19 months on Rikers Island. And my lawyer was like, listen, Jason, I got good news and bad news. I know you said you didn't want to do any time, but you're not saying who did this. You're not saying anything.
So you got to do something.
You have to do something. The good news is, I just talked to the DA. He said he's willing to give you 5 years. Now, mind you, I almost got 2 years in. Out of 5 years, you do like 3, let's say 3 years. Yeah. I got 2 in. I mean, I'm going to go upstate for a year. I'm with that. Yeah. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we go to court, and my lawyer and the DA tells the judge, his name is Alois. I will never forget. Son, you see how this stuff is embedded? Yeah. This was in 2003 and 5. It's 2019, I know his name.
It's also traumatic.
It is.
Yeah.
Judge Alois, after the DA and my lawyer tells him, we reached a disposition, we're gonna give him a plea of 5 years. A lawyer said, I'm not giving him no plea. I didn't even know a judge could do that, man. It's rare a judge goes against the DA. Usually they'll go, whatever they say, get this nigga out of here, give me the next one. But I guess I was young.
There was something about you that the judge maybe didn't like.
I'm gonna make an example out of this dude. And the reason why I say that, because being that he denied the plea, I then was forced to go to trial. I didn't want to go to trial.
Because if you blew trial.
It's double. But now I'm going to trial. But it's difficult because my lawyer's like, listen, you're gonna lose. My lawyer's telling me you're gonna lose. Because you're not gonna get on the stand and say who did it.
Did you have a paid attorney?
In trial, no. In trial, no. I did not have a paid attorney.
You were young.
I was young. My parents didn't really have that type of bread. You know what I'm saying? And what happened was, once he said you're gonna lose, he said this was gonna happen. They can't question you if you don't get on the stand. But once you take the stand, you open the door for them to cross-examine. It's gonna open up a whole can of worms. You're not gonna talk. So you can't even get on the stand. I'm like, damn. So when I blew trial, right, I was upset for a very long time, and I couldn't understand why these people found me guilty with no robbery in the first degree. You know what I'm saying? No gun. They didn't have anything. Just a bunch of hearsay, right? But as I matured, I realized if I was a law-abiding citizen and someone is saying they didn't do it, why this nigga don't get up here and tell us he didn't do it? He's just sitting over there. Everybody else is talking, saying their side. Why don't that person get up here and tell us and convince us that he didn't do it? And that's when I matured and I said, damn, they did what they were supposed to do. I just sat there. They said they side, and I just sat there. I went through trial for about 4 or 5 days. You know what I'm saying? They came back with the guilty verdict. And
can you tell me about how the judge sentenced you that?
So when he read the charges, he said on record, he said, all this means to me is that this young man never had a real taste of prison or jail and had a slap on his wrist his whole life. And today I'm going to be the one to give it to him. And he gave me 5 years for the first count, 5 years for the second count, 5 years for the third count, and 5 years for the fourth count. He gave me 20 years, and then he ran the last 2 concurrent, and that's just how I ended up with a 15. Like he did me a favor or something. So he gave me that plus 5 years post-release, meaning after I do all of this damn time, y'all still got me out here. This is that sentencing. And I even put that in appeal. My girlfriend helped me. We put this in appeal. I'm like, we're going to get it. Because no judge can say some shit like this on record. I lost.
Wow.
I lost the appeal.
Can I ask you a question? The niggas that you was chilling with in the hood, were any of them there?
I'm glad you asked me that. Because you know we teach at various other
the jails,
organizations.
prisons, everywhere we go.
And I tell these kids, even when we went to Horizons, right? We went to the Brim House. You remember?
Yeah.
There was 12 of them in there. And I said, we all talking gang, gang, gang. We put all this work in for the gang. And I said, how many of you niggas did the homies come to court for you? They said none. I said, how many of the homies send you money while y'all doing this time in Horizons? None. Right? How many times when y'all get on them damn phones do you dial another homie number? None. So why do we put the gang before the family or the people that love us and hold us down? And they're not wrong. This is just what they were taught. And it was the same thing for me. There was no Bloods in the courtroom. It was my mom. It was my girl.
Talk to me a little bit about, now let's fast forward through Rikers Island, the bus ride up north.
Oh man, so the bus ride is extremely quiet. Everybody's quiet because they're going through this metamorphosis right there on that bus ride. Some people will come up here and admit it to you, some won't. But I'm telling you, that's what they're doing. They're going through their head, how they're gonna do, how they're gonna be. And for me, J-Nyce was created to the fullest on that bus ride.
That's where you took on the persona.
No, I mean, I've been going by that moniker, but what I'm saying is, I knew how I was gonna do my bit, because you got options, right? You can either do it or get it done too. And I made a decision. I ain't gonna get it done too.
Let's slow down on it, because we're gonna get right into that. But I want to ask you a question, because I want to bring this alive for the viewers at home. What does it smell like on that bus? Is it cold? Are you shackled?
I mean,
who's sitting next to you?
It definitely was cold for me because it was the winter time, and
there's no heat. I imagine on that shit.
They ain't put no heat. If there is, I don't know. I'm thinking that they intentionally just didn't put it on. Like, this is the cruelty. This is the stuff that you go through when you're in there.
Yeah.
They intentionally do things to break you. right? And for the most part, they break you. They do. Everybody. There's not one person that can tell me they went up north and they weren't broken. I could prove that without a shadow of a doubt. Let's take a place like Attica. There's no talking in the hallway. And if you're talking, they're beating the brakes off you, basically.
There's no talking in the corridor?
There's no talking in the corrections.
So when there's
Attica.
movement, you can't even talk?
And you have to stop at each line. Like, it's that serious, right? If we're in the street, and you took something from me, what usually happens? It's beef, right?
Yeah, it's beef.
So why, when the packages come and my girl tell me with the list, she sends me a list in the mail of the items that she sent, and you open your fucking package, half the shit missing, and the officer be like, yeah, you know who took it? Why it ain't beef?
Wow.
Right? Because
that's so interesting to me.
But why is it not beef?
Why
right?
Is it not beef?
You become a thinker when you're in there, and this is why we doing the work that we do, because I tell them the same way you survive that, right? You could come out here and be a thinker. Don't just.
Let me ask you a question though. Are you suggesting that the COs take it?
No, I'm not suggesting. I'm telling you.
The COs
take it. They violate, right? They violate on the regular. They disrespect people's parents. They deter visitors from wanting to even come up there. They play games. So we could talk about this, right? That's why you're talking about trauma. You're talking to a guy that, like, I'm not just on no rap or no mixtape rapping about this shit. I did 12 years and 6 months in there of my life. I was 18 going on 19. You know what I'm saying? I came home 32 going on 33. They took my whole 20s.
Your whole 20s.
My whole 20s. But these are things that assisted in my growth and me maturing and coming out of that. But that's only because I was woke. A lot of people don't come out of this. This is why you have this recidivism rate going on crazy, or people not even having that fear of going to prison, man.
Let me bring you back to the packages real quick. Explain to me, did you ever have any trouble with your packages? Was niggas trying to take your shit or anything like that?
I didn't. And I'm gonna say this. And I'm not gonna say just because I'm that dude, even though I think I'm that dude. No, I don't think, I know, right? I was also blood. That's a fact. So up north, 9 times out of 10, a dude that's scheming on taking somebody's package is gonna do a process of elimination. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you take the little homie shit, we coming. So I'm not gonna say it was just 100% me. Blood held me down, just like I held them down. Vice versa. They held me down, and I held them down with food, clothing, and things of that nature. When my girl or my mom would send me package, half of that, you're here, homie. And I had brothers in there that would die for me for that, because they don't got nobody. I became their family.
Wow, that's powerful.
So I don't want to sit here in front like, oh, it's because I was this monster.
It's because you had a team.
I had a nation behind a team.
You had a nation.
I had a whole nation behind me. And it don't even matter if it happened in just this jail. We'll send a letter to the next jail and you get clapped over there. Our communication was that serious.
It's crazy.
You understand what I'm saying?
Let me pause you there for a second. This is something that we both know. Obviously, for the viewers out there, J-Nyce and I have done work in many different prison facilities, jails, etc. But there's this thing that happens in prison where they actually have a list of the people that are receiving packages in public view, I would say, right? So other prisoners can see it. Talk a little bit about that and how that helped you realize that all this shit is by design. The system shit, the oppression shit is by design.
It just wasn't the package, it was everything. I was in there just analyzing everything. And I just wanted to be different. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna talk, I guess, later about those things that assisted and pushed me towards where I'm at now with it. But all of these things I was already analyzing. But let's just say a little homie or a little neutral kid, he's up there he only has a 3-year sentence.
Yeah.
But he had, 2 years in already. So he only has 1 more year to go. But he was in a medium. Meaning the medium, everybody has 6 years or less. So everybody's going home. But this kid had a fight with another kid. So they put him in a box. And then...
So the kid that's in the medium has a fight with another kid who's
in the medium.
Okay.
They have a fist fight. Regular fist fight. No weapons, no none of that. But the mediums, they really have like zero tolerance because they feel like it's a privilege to be in the medium. And then they hold the whole max thing over your head. Consistently, constantly. They constantly antagonizing these brothers, calling them nigga, violating them, and you have to be a thinker to hold it down and say, y'all want to make it home.
Clarification: these are white CEOs calling black prisoners
Ku Klux
nigga,
Klan,
this,
all
that,
that.
blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
they're trying to provoke you so you can fuck up.
And then they send you to a max. If you have this, your classification goes up. But they put you in the box. You did your box time. So if I did my box time and I'm done, put me back in population. Oh no. You're going to do the box time right here in the medium, and now you're getting shipped to a max.
That's crazy.
So the thing is this. I only have a year to go. I'm neutral. I don't got no team. I'm not blood, I'm not Crip, I'm not Muslim, I'm not nothing. I only have a year to go. My wife sends me a food package. And a guy is up there serving a life sentence. He's serving a life sentence. He doesn't have family. He ain't been on the phone in 10 years, and all he got is him. A lot of brothers up there gotta survive, and they're gonna do what they gotta do. Just like there's stick-up kids in the street, there's stick-up kids up north. But they're not dumb. They're gonna do a process of elimination. So now here's this young kid with only a year to go with a food package, and I'm hungry. I want it. They put up a package list in the block for all inmates to see. It has your your first initial, your last name, your DIN number, and your cell. So it'll say Julio, 3 cell, Jacob.
So you know exactly where to find.
So I know who got it. Why would you put that shit up? Why won't you just come to my cell and say, Julio, package? You gonna put the fucking list up. So I already know you got a package. Now when you come back from the package room, I'm waiting. And I've been working out for 25 years. And your little ass got this package. And you have a decision to make. And you don't have a long time with this. Short period of time, short window to make this decision. Let me get down. You can say yeah, right? And say, I'm gonna be a thinker because I want to go home. And you give it to him. But once you give it to him,
you gotta give him that package.
You gotta give him that shit every time you get it. Or don't even call home for no more. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But here's the double-edged sword. Here's a real scenario that I'm gonna give you that happened many of times. You got some young brothers that got heart and they sign with it. Do what you gotta do. And instead of them waiting for the older brother to do something, they strike first. And they cut or stab and they catch a new charge.
Wow.
It's a double-edged sword. Wow. It's a double-edged sword.
So you're trying to defend yourself because you don't want niggas to take your package, but in defending yourself, your classification changes and now you gotta get shipped to a max.
And you could possibly catch a new charge because all of these are new charges. Another felony.
Do you think this could be avoided by not having the package list up?
Simple. You just said it. Right?
Because you can hide your stuff, right? Nobody know you got a package.
I mean, people would know, but at least it's not broadcasted in the way that they do it. You know what I'm saying? And the other ways that it could be prevented is changing the mindsets of the inmate population, which is difficult. Because you're talking about men that are accustomed. This is a culture, man. This is a culture. This is a way of life. This is a world within the world. There's a way we do things. There's things we do and there's things we don't do. There's things we accept and there's things we don't accept. And you get with the program if you want to survive this. You know what I'm saying? So the way to change that is to change their mindset. But that's difficult if I've been doing the same shit for 25 years.
For 25 years. It's amazing that you survived that. But in some ways, it reminds me of something that you were talking about earlier when you were talking about having to be abnormal, right? To survive those abnormal conditions. And it makes me think about this philosopher who, his name is Friedrich Nietzsche. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna read something off this page here that he says. He says, it was once said that whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster himself. Now, if we stipulate that in the case of jail and prison and all that shit, the monster is the system, right? The monster is the design. Do you think it's possible to fight that system, fight the monster without becoming a monster? Or do you think when you up north, you just have to?
I feel like in life, you have a choice. You have a choice. Some people are like, oh, I have no choice. No, you have a choice, right? But the way the system is, it's like, let's take blood for a second. Let's go there for a second, right? Blood means brotherly love, override oppression and destruction, right? This is something the majority of the world is not privy to. So this is why when they hear that name, blood, it has this negative thing with it, right? So when that came out on Rikers Island, I'm not gonna speak on California. We'll talk New York because I'm from New York, right? When that came out on Rikers Island, 1993, C73 OG Mac, right? The Latin brothers had the island on the smash. They were oppressing all the black dudes in there. They would take all the food, have all the phone calls, dudes couldn't get on the phone, etc. They was oppressing it, right? So OG Mac came with this, which is a good cause, and those brothers came together and they fought that. They fought against that. And I'm just gonna fast forward and say, we won that war eons ago. And what happened, what I noticed, was the very thing that we came out for, we became. Because before I got the rank, Eddie, right? When I was blood and I was stoned, before I had rank and I was in the housing unit, certain things would touch me and just hit me at the core that I was not feeling. But it's like prison doesn't allow you to feel. Prison doesn't allow you to express yourself, because then you come off as, yo, you soft, or you's a bitch, right? I'm a bitch because he didn't eat and y'all want to feed him? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know what this culture respects. And they don't respect the positivity. They don't respect, real legitimate success.
That's part of why we doing this whole thing.
Exactly. They respect that I cut him, I stabbed him, I beat him up, and all this violent bullshit that gets you in trouble and death. So all that shit gets you, right? But that's what we respect. So I knew I couldn't be like, yo, homie, nah, feed him. I don't got no rank. And I know that's what y'all believe in. I know that's what y'all want. All right, so I'm gonna become the monster. So I became, it's like, I had to get in to bust it up, to change it. And as I rose in the ranks,
you had to play the game to
I began
subvert
to
the
change
system.
it.
Yeah.
I began to change my circumference. You know what I'm saying?